this season of American Idol is super exciting, especially for your family. Yeah, just kind of walk me through what it's been like for you guys to watch Blake do his thing out there.
It's been it's been amazing. It really has. Just from you know where this came from 3 years ago when I was training in LA, um, combine training, getting him ready for his pro day, um, to fast forward 3 years, stepping away from football, and it's just been amazing because none of us can sing. I can't sing. My wife can't sing. My parents, her parents. Um, it's a gift, man, and it's exciting to see his passion, going from one passion to another. What how often does that happen? And so for us, it's my wife and I have traveled and some of his shows in DC and Minnesota. And it's just we're kind of jaw open, man. It's been an amazing experience to see his process and his journey, um, the last several months.
If you can like walk me through the first time you realized like, my son is very talented, not only on the football field, but he can sing too. Like what was that realization like?
Well, so it was 3 years ago. Someone sent me an audio, um, of a song, someone singing, and so I'm listening to the song, and as I'm listening, I start to recognize it's Blake's voice, and it was like it put a frog in my throat. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and he had never told us. Like and the story American Idol is all real. I mean, Nana Joan, my mother-in-law, is the one that inspired him. Like, Blake, you got a good voice. You should pursue that. And so for us, I think we were just dumbstruck, like just like, where did this come from? And so that's what from an for me it was an emotional moment because I couldn't believe it. And then when we heard him in person and we started hearing him more and more, um, and how talented he was and how good he sounded just blew me away that in that short period of time. And put it in perspective, it's kind of like, being a professional athlete. You don't just show up and all of a sudden you run routes and catch touchdowns, and not to say that he's at the level some of these other guys and young women are at, on American Idol, but for him to be where he is has been nothing short of amazing. And just we're so proud, my wife and I and my son, my daughter, we're just totally in awe. And it's just been so exciting and so breathtaking to just watch him go through this and to, and granted, listen, I'm not a, for me, of course, everything sounds good, when I hear him sing. So I'm not your critique, but, everybody tells us, man, he's got a beautiful voice. He's amazing. And I sit there and say, well, I think so, but what do I know? It's just been, the whole family. It's just been so exciting to see him, and obviously to watch him. It's in a different arena than the football stadiums that I've played in. So, but I think there's some similarities. Like for me, I tell him, he gets nervous. These guys are so talented. They're so close, and they share thoughts and ideas, and they share emotions on Idol, preparing for their next, performance. And for me, a lot of times he goes, Dad, you don't understand how good they are. They've been doing this their whole life. And I said, Blake, I said, you know, I know I've never been in that arena, but for me, just be your best. I was never the best football player on the field, but I performed at a high level. I was my best, and that's good enough. And I think that's the things that he's starting to learn is performing under pressure in that arena where he's not necessarily, ever had to do before.
What was it like for you, especially having Blake get to the professional level and then, injuries happen, he comes back and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, this isn't for me anymore. What was that conversation like with you? And what was your initial reaction?
Um, I think it was hard, but it wasn't. You just because I know he's good enough to play in the National Football League. He showed that he was having. I ran into Rick Spielman in Canton, and he told me, he said, "Man, Blake is killing it. He's an undrafted uh, receiver, but he said he's going to be in our top 3 or 4 wideouts. He's having a great camp." And I knew he had that ability. I trained him his whole life. And so when the injury happened, it was the second time he did it in college. So, it's the worst feeling in the world. It's every parent's nightmare getting that phone call of, hey, Blake just got carted off and it doesn't look good. Um, and to hear his emotions, and you put everything into being your best and playing at the highest level, and then it's just stripped away in a matter of seconds. um, and then he came back from all of that the following year and won the Ed Block Award. His teammates voted him. He went to Maryland and received an award for comeback player of the year for his particular team, for the Vikings. And then to have success and to watch him in a preseason game versus the Cardinals catch 5 balls, make some unbelievable plays, and catch 3 punts. It was, to me, he made it. Like that right there as a parent, you're like, man, because I know how hard it is to play at that level. And then when he got cut, you know, um, he had always said, like, I'm not going to keep pursuing if if a team doesn't want me, or I'm not getting, calls, to sign, I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm starting to really have a passion for music. I think I'm good at it. I love doing it. I love the grind of writing songs and then putting the music to the songs. So for me, it was, all I've ever wanted my kids to do is I've always said, chase your dreams, but make sure you love doing what you do, and you're passionate about it. And he's passionate about music. And so for me, it was an easy transition to support him, love him, because that's something that he showed he really loves to do.
What's that say about your son that he pursues football, wants to be a professional football player? The odds aren't great for that. And then he goes and he pursues music, and that's just as tough. But it seems like no matter what he's doing, he is, going 100% and he's loving every bit of it. So, just what's that say about Blake?
He's talented, very talented. But the thing I think we're most excited about as a family is he's humble. You see that it's just it bleeds out of him, and just his innocence, his humbleness. He's gonna grind though. Like he loves the grind, and he loves the camaraderie of the other contestants. Um, he has shown in this short time on American Idol, his interviews, everything you see, his interview talking to you guys. He's a humble kid, and he loves this. He loves um, making music and sharing sharing that message with other people, and especially the emotional side that you know through his experiences that he's had in his short term, or short time on earth, that he's so relatable. And I think that's what's cool for my wife and I, just to see that he has stayed humble. He's a kid that's relatable, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch grow, and we're excited of what the future holds.
I talked to him briefly, just a couple weeks ago, and honestly, like I was amazed. Like a lot of people, when they get to American Idol or they get to the NFL and everything, they switch up. But I could tell he was just a great, genuine guy. So, kudos to you for your parenting as well. So, Ricky, is there anything else I got that you'd like to add while I have you?
No, no, man. I think I think I've said it all. We're just Kelly, my wife and I are just so proud of Blake, and proud that he, I think it took a lot for him to walk away from a game that he loved, for a game that his dad played, his brother played, and to be to have the courage to kind of say, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to pursue music." I thought that that said a lot of like what you said of who he is as a person, and I respected that, and I love him for that.